Well, in a little over 2 months, actually less than 3 months, the New Patriotic Party, NPP, will be going to the polls to choose a flag bearer ahead of election 2028. The election is scheduled for 31st January 2026. There are a number of candidates crisscrossing the country, or pretending to be crisscrossing based on what we have seen. And they are all campaigning to NPP delegates, hoping to hold the flag of the party into the elections of 2024. One of them, persons hoping to be flag bearer of the NPP, is former Minister for Agric and Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Today on Face to Face, we are going to touch base with his campaign to see what message he's sending to delegates, how the delegates are receiving these messages, and why he even thinks that he stands a chance to be flag bearer and eventually president. I am Umaru Sanda. Welcome to Face to Face. My guest on Face to Face today is a former deputy minister. He tried to be member of parliament. He did not succeed, but he is on the Dr. Bryan Acheampong campaign team as a spokesperson. The Honorable Pius Hadzide, you're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
How is Asuogyaman doing?
Well, Asuogyaman is great. I bring him warm regards from Asuogyaman. I was there over the weekend.
Oh, you went there to campaign, or you went there to just...
I went to visit family and to touch base with my people.
But when they see you, do they say, oh, they are sorry they didn't vote for you? Or they're like, yeah, we are happy we didn't vote for you because we have a deputy finance minister. If we had voted for you, we'll be orphans.
Well, no, I was deputy minister even before I became, or I wanted to become MP. If my party had won and I had won, I'm sure that Asuogyaman would have been looking at maybe something, maybe even bigger than deputy minister. But we are grateful for the support we received during the campaign. It was a tough campaign, but we distinguished ourselves. We have congratulated the Member of Parliament. Now it is his job to ensure that what we wanted to do for our people, to bring Asuogyaman up to levels that I believe that we should get. If you look at the God-given potentials, the natural endowments of Asuogyaman, I dare suggest that we are lagging far behind, and there is enormous potential. And now the people have reposed their confidence in the Honorable Tema-Mpakadan. I wish him well. I continue to pray for him, for the strength and the wisdom to be able to do what we wanted to do. It's his time now. What
do the people of Asuogyaman need? I mean, the last time I went there, I went to the top of the mountain, the peninsula area. That is what Jekiti, is that the road to Jekiti?
Yes, that leads to Jekiti.
That road, I mean, after the Akosombo township, it was not good. Yes. I don't know if anything has changed since.
Well, it's a bad road. During the last administration, we ensured that the contract for the rehabilitation of the road was executed. Work had begun. We were steadily on course. You would notice that from around Marine, heading towards Sedom Junction, the culverts, Jinadono Junction. We had developed the culverts. The contractor was very much actively on site. We were hoping that we were going to complete that road in record time. I think that just like it had happened with many other contracts, the impact of the COVID-19 and its implications on the finances of the state delayed the execution of the project for some time. But the contractor was on site. We expected work to have progressed at a more speedy pace, but that did not happen, unfortunately, and we lost the election. The last time I used that road, the contractor was not on site. I haven't used it in a couple of months. I can only hope and pray that now that we have a finance minister as our MP, he will leverage his influence in government to ensure that this project is completed and completed on time. It is the same for the Enumbuso Road. That one I personally played a major role in bringing the contractor to site. The bituminous overlay was started between Osibin Junction getting into Enum Township. The last time I used the road, I also noticed that work had stalled. We can only hope and pray that the Honourable Member of Parliament leverages his influence in government to once again look at that road and some other roads, the Asuogyaman road, for instance. This was very much part of the reasons why we thought that we should get into public service to be able to advocate for the rehabilitation of that road. So, I mean, there are a number of road works that need to be done in Asuogyaman. But beyond that, you have been there. You see the tourism potentials of Asuogyaman, not too far from the airport in Accra, not too far from the national capital. But the flora and the fauna exists for us to be able to fast track the development of Asuogyaman, hinging it even on tourism alone. Again, you know the agricultural potentials of Asuogyaman. The river Volta flows right through the constituency, you see, and goes all the way to waste in the sea. And so aquaculture is one of the things that we can focus on, and also irrigation, because the river flows right through the middle of the constituency, and it can be leveraged for irrigation. And so agriculture should be one of the areas that we should also look at. And there are a few ideas that we had, we still have, and we are hoping that the Member of Parliament is able to execute on some of these ideas that we have.
I know you are biased, but 8 months on, is your constituency feeling that you have produced a Deputy Minister of Finance?
My personal attitude is to give him time and not to be too quick in judging his output. There's a lot of pressure on this administration. If you looked at the promises they made, which largely appears to be unfulfilled. And so I believe that from the center, the global picture, and looking at the strategic position that he occupies, Deputy Finance Minister, he will be very much under pressure. I mean, in terms of the global space, the Ghanaian economy.
Okay.
And so my attitude is to give him space, wish him well, and pray for him. Very soon, I believe that the question that you asked will be answered. You mentioned
Mpakadan. Now, one of the projects you inherited as a government was the rail line from Tema to Akosombo, started by the Mahama government. You came and continued with it. You changed the course and decided to put a bridge over the river and terminate it at Mpakadan, I think, or rather at the other side of the river. I'm not sure where exactly, which is still in your constituency. What is the, I know that the train has become operational. What I don't know is whether the bridge over the river has been completed, or whether the train has been using that, and also where it is supposed to go and end up for the offloading of goods or for loading of goods onto barges onto the river. I don't know if you can tell us what the status of that is.
Well, Sanda, I can. I just don't know why you would say it was started by President Mahama. I mean, then we could say that it was started by...
It was a project?
No, it was a project that was brought back to life by the Kufu administration, the MPP administration. But even then, if you want to go back, I'm sure that from Nkrumah's development plan, you also find the idea of connecting Tema to Akosombo, leverage water transportation to. So the idea had always existed. Kufuor's time, there was conversations around that. In Mohammed's time, there was conversation, but there was not much in terms of concrete action.
There was. I thought they started some project before they left.
Well, no, they
around
didn't.
Afienya.
They didn't. They will argue that they signed a contract for some amount of money. Which amount of money changed because the scope of work had changed, and so there had to be renegotiations, and that was done by the Akufo-Addo administration. It was actually led by the former Minister for Railway from the Western Region, Honorable Joe Gatti. The engineering was problematic in the conception of the previous NDC regime, and that's why I'm saying that we should probably delineate and differentiate between what they wanted to do and what we wanted to do. They were going to take the rail line into Akosombo. They were going to cut into the rocks, and that would have been an engineering disaster. The dam could collapse. The Akosombo Dam, which is a major, it's a mainstay of our hydro power generation capacity in this country. That bridge, that dam could have been compromised had the original design of the previous Mahama administration followed, because you had to cut through the rocks and also go through the gorge to be able to get to the river. And so in the wisdom of the Akufo-Addo administration, led by the technical people, the engineers, there had to be a rerouting, and now a rail over river, the first of its kind within our West African dispensation, was constructed. That has been completed, to answer your question directly.
So the bridge
is completed. There has been
at Senchi.
At Senchi, there actually has been trials. There have been the train trials over the bridge, and so everything is set now. You remember there was an accident during one of the trials. Somebody had parked a vehicle in one of the and the train ran into the parked vehicle. It was a major national matter, and so there is no doubt that the rail project, the construction was completed. The various stations were also completed. We were hoping that by now rail transportation would have resumed in earnest.
I think there was a train on the track recently. I saw pictures that it has started commercial operations. I don't know where it starts from and where it ends. So that's what I was asking. Maybe it goes to Juapon. If it crosses the river based on what you have said, then maybe at least it goes to Juapon. But what about the end points? Do you know that one is in your constituency?
Yes.
Do you know whether that has been finished and whether?
Well, the whole idea is to do. There's a mini port that's under development in Mpakadan. The idea is to leverage water transportation to be able to send some of the heavy goods that normally would ply the road through Kumasi, Techiman, Tamale, and these are heavy duty goods, cement, iron rods, all kinds of very, very heavy haulage that we use the roads, and it also compromises the lifespan of the roads. And so the whole idea is to not just focus on transportation of human beings, persons, but also goods. And so the port, which was still under construction, would then close that gap, because we have to connect the rail transportation beautifully to water transportation to be able to achieve the full objective of the project. That should be completed. We are hoping that the current NDC government.
So for now, we can only use the track for commercial passenger transport, not for goods as envisaged.
Well, goods can still go, but
not the kind of goods
that the connection that will facilitate the water transportation, and the port is not ready.
Because
we hope that the government completes
because you are familiar with the route, and I'm also from the area, that's why I'm asking you these questions, and so it terminates in your concern. I'm asking a question about this rail line. I mean, where I come from, Asuogyaman Junction, the rail line does not pass through the town necessarily. It passes a distant community. What I've noticed is that the rail line does not go along the Tema-Mpakadan road. So if you were living along the Tema-Mpakadan road and you want to come to Accra by train, you would have to do a long journey to go catch the train. And usually the rail line passes through very bushy, remote areas. Do you know why that was done? Because I would have thought that put the rail line close to the road, because that's where settlements are. Like the one we see in Sakumono through Tema to Accra. I mean Tema to through Sakumono to Accra.
Well, this is an engineering question, but I know as a student of engineering that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And so in designing roads and railways and rail tracks, engineers will take into consideration some of these things. And so I cannot speak directly to that matter, just that I must add that the stations are within accessible distances. It's not everywhere that the train will stop. The train will stop at specific locations. Those are the train stations. Those are sited strategically to be able to be accessed easily by people in the various catchment areas. And also remember that it's not all the people who live along the main road. There is a large number of people who also live within what one may describe as the hinterland, and they also should be given access. Otherwise, they too need to travel long distances to come to the main road.
Okay.
So I think that you may have a point there, but I think that the engineers will.
Fair enough. Last week, my guest who sat in this chair that you're sitting in was an NDC parliamentary hopeful. He didn't make it. And I asked him directly, I said, okay, it's 4 years to the next election. Do you plan to run again, or it's too early? And he said, no, he still plans to run, and he's making that communication announcement now. Do you plan to run again in 2028?
I think that it's too early.
It's too early.
I think that we in this ecosystem of politics and public service should be able to support one another. We have a member of parliament now who is barely 8 months, 1 year. I think that if you are not careful and you communicate a certain intent, you may put pressure on him. He may leave what he has to do to be wanting to engage in politics. I am into this thing not for myself, but for my constituency and for Ghana at large. And so if today it is not yet my turn, and somebody else has been asked to hold the stead, I believe that the best we should do is to support the person or those group of individuals. We can criticize them, and they must be open to accept criticism with conduct and take it as feedback to impact their own planning and programming and delivery. But I think that it is early days yet. What we should need to do is to support the people who have the mandate at this point, give them time. In due course, we shall assess their output and compare it with our own vision and our own plan. And if there is a gap and we believe that we could do better, then you probably would want to announce. But if you get at them right now, then
it's too early.
Yeah.
Very well. But what is not too early is the flag bearer race, and my guest is going to talk to us about why he's supporting Dr. Bryan Acheampong in the NPP's internal race. This is Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. My guest, Pius Hadzide, former Deputy Minister, former CEO, former NPP parliamentary candidate for Asuogyaman. I'm Umaru Sanda. This is Channel 1 Television. We'll return with more. Please stay with us.
Welcome to the Africa Prosperity Dialogues, where business and political leaders meet to drive Africa's single market.
Distinguished guests, this is our moment to make history. We must act not in isolation, but together as united Africa.
Under the patronage of His Excellency John Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, and in partnership with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, the Africa Prosperity Network presents the Africa Prosperity Dialogues 2026 under the theme Empowering SMEs, Women and Youth in Africa's Single Market. Innovate, collaborate, trade.
Ghana is proud to be the home of this important dialogue series, and it will continue to enjoy my utmost support to make subsequent summits even greater.
Register now at africaprosperitynetwork.com or call or WhatsApp at +233 536 098 325.
You're welcome back. This Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. My guest is Pius Hadzide, spokesperson to Dr. Bryan Acheampong. So, why Dr. Bryan Acheampong in the race of what, 6 people? Five, yes. Why did you choose Dr. Bryan Acheampong to be the one to support?
Well, let me begin by saying that all the 5 distinguished gentlemen who have put themselves forward qualify to be presidential candidate. But I believe that there is one whose marketability stands out and somebody who will get us to where we want to get to in the shortest possible time, i.e. 2028. And that person is Dr. Bryan Acheampong. I believe, for instance, that there's so much tension and friction within our rank and file, which we can trace to the 2023 presidential primaries and its antecedent campaigns. You remember the showdown situations, and you remember the allegations that have been made that certain individuals, their commentary, their actions also accounted for our loss. And so to any honest MPP person, any fair observer, the tensions appear to be between the former Vice President and our former flag bearer, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and his most serious contender in the 2023 presidential primaries, the Honorable Kennedy Acheampong. And so you continue to monitor commentary that is coming from even senior members of our party, including regional chairmen. One shudders to think and to wonder, will the other party and their supporters come on board fully to support the other in the event that either of them wins? And I have come to the conclusion that the probability may be there, but very low.
So you see Dr. Bryan Acheampong as a compromise candidate?
As a compromise candidate, as a strategic candidate, somebody who does not have any issues with the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia camp. He has not promised any showdown. He does not have a problem with the Kennedy Acheampong camp. He has not accused them of being the reason why we lost the 2023 campaigns. And you see, there are traditional lessons that we have picked from home. Sometimes when 2 children are fighting even over a toy or something, it's in contention, sometimes you find that the parent comes and just takes the toy from the both of them, and calm is restored and sanity is brought back. I think that one of our strategic limitations, one of our critical needs is unity, peace and discipline within our ranks. And I have looked at all of the distinguished men who have expressed an interest, and I've come to the conclusion that the person who can really and truly unify this party in the shortest possible time to be able to confront the NDC with an effective campaign, a united party campaign, is Dr. Bryan Acheampong.
By not crying wolf where there is none, this same Dr. Bawumia and Ken Acheampong contested when the party was in office. That was when we heard the comment of showdown. Ken Acheampong lost, Bawumia won. The party didn't break up or disintegrate. It was a healthy internal contest. Why do you think the same thing cannot happen this time?
You may be observing from afar. Disintegration is extreme. We do not wish that even on your worst enemy. But the reality is that if you speak to our party people, our abysmal performance was partly due to the apathy that arose in the party, which some of us have linked to the manner in which the primaries was conducted. But I believe that
we saw the losing candidates follow Dr. Bawumia on the campaign trail, and they pledged their support, and we saw that happening. So,
well, Sanda, I'm saying that we can play the ostrich and bury our heads in the sand and pretend that there was.
Is that problem. What I just did?
Well, but I'm not sure if first of all you are a member of the party or that you understand the workings of the party too much.
But I observe.
I don't want to push you from afar. For some of us, it is lived experiences. We are there, and so the party rank and file, the polling station people, the electoral area coordinators, the constituency executives, we know what's happened. We know.
But did they say that this apathy was as a result of one person losing or another?
The apathy was as a result of many things, including tensions and frictions within our ranks.
Was that a huge reason?
It was a huge part of the apathy.
And so you
had instances where people went out to say things that really and truly some of us would not want to repeat on national television. And we know.
But my point is that, so we didn't see Kennedy go. I mean, the only person who left was Alan Chairmantin. And
so that's an example. That's an example that you just brought. And I'm saying that there are things that voters, the NPP delegates, can do today to prevent that kind of situation. And I'm saying that Dr. Bryan Acheampong has no challenges with anybody. And so for him to be the fulcrum around which the party unites is a given. Okay. Nobody will have any challenges.
Okay.
I don't want to get into the ifs and whens and whats and then risk it and lose it. No, okay. I don't want to do that.
But if his biggest trump card is that he's the one who is a middle ground, you can't, if
that's
you go
not the
left.
Biggest. I was going to give you a little.
Okay, so I'm saying that if that's a trump card to celebrate or talk about, then you have Kwabena Acheampong. He doesn't also support either of the two.
That is true.
And he could also come around and say he's a middle candidate or the compromise candidate.
That is true.
So that campaign...
You can actually also say the same for maybe the Honorable Educhum.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that it is not just that.
Okay.
There are many other considerations that
so his personality would matter. Let's talk about his personality first. Then
for instance, he's the youngest of all of the five. And it is a researched position that as we enter into these elections, young persons want to vote for younger people.
Researched by
yes. Well, you can even check
from a young person on the ballot the last time.
We can even check from Mr. Musa Dankwa, for instance. He will say to you, when he posed the question to young persons.
Do you believe Musa Dankwa now? Well, your party was poo-pooing and laughing at him.
I've never poo-pooed
mocking him.
No, I've never poo-pooed any post. I've always said that these polls are feedback. We should take it as feedback. But I also do know that sometimes these polls can be used as psychological operations. And I said that I did not, when you spoke to me, I did not understand exactly what the methodology of Musa Dankwa was relative to that specific poll. I had to take time to read the literature to find out the methodology, the sample size, and so on, to be able to come to a conclusion. So I take polls seriously as feedback, whatever they may be, because we also do our own polling and we have to do a basis for comparison.
So your belief is that young people want to vote for a young person?
The young people are inspired by young people who have achieved, and Dr. Bryan Acheampong, without that, has achieved. Look, he has created enormous employment opportunities for the young people of our country.
That's what they attribute to Kennedy Acheampong.
Well, if you're looking at that, and it is a plus, but we have a situation where Dr. Bryan Acheampong has done more.
Where? In which industry?
In the building industry, for instance, real estate. If you come into this country, you're looking at the first three big real estate agencies. You hear of the Roho Construction Group.
What construction group?
Roho.
Roho belongs to Bryan Acheampong.
You come to, yes, it does. You come to the IT space, the biggest software development house in Ghana, into IT, belongs to Dr. Bryan Acheampong. Okay. 1.2 million public and civil servants use his software on a daily basis, not just in Ghana, across the whole of Africa. 8 million people use his software, the handiworks of his into IT company, on a daily basis. If you come into the hospitality space, the man owns the biggest and most ambitious hospitality program in the whole of Africa. The Rock City brand, the largest hotel by room in Africa, belongs to Dr. Bryan Acheampong.
Was this particular one not tainted by the scandals of the hotel purchase last year or 2 years ago? Has that not affected the brand that you are celebrating?
If anything, that brand has been vindicated. You know, recently the management of SNIT and the Deputy Minister of Finance made a revelation that the SNIT hotels were struggling and that they needed a strategic investor. But this announcement was made in 2022. It was that announcement and its subsequent invitation for strategic investors to come on board that made the Rock City brand also get on board. Mind you, the Rock City is an identity on its own. It has its own management and its own board. And so they wanted to participate. In fact, they participated. And my understanding is that the board of the SNIT came to the conclusion that the Rock City brand offered the most responsive and most beneficial proposals in terms of technical and financial. And we were going to create jobs for the young people of our country. That was lost because of desperate politics.
Do you not think that that backlash on the government over that SNIT hotel matter ultimately affected your candidate?
No. I mean, you should know, and I've heard many discerning people reading between the lines and came to the conclusion that this was political propaganda. The exercise that my brother Sami Okujetu and Co were engaged in. What was amiss? That the strategic investor, they would have wished that he went to a Chinese or a Lebanese. I mean, I don't understand. You are doing well, Channel 1 TV. You are doing very, very well. It's a Ghanaian brand. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. We should disabuse our minds of a certain slave mentality, and that suggests that the Ghanaian cannot do it. Why can a Lebanese come and own and manage, partner, and run our hotels profitably, but a Ghanaian cannot? I mean, that's slave mentality. I think, on the other hand, Dr. Bryan Acheampong should be celebrated for wanting to invest his monies to creating jobs and impacting the economy in Ghana.
So if he did so well in, you've mentioned the real estate sector, you've talked about IT, you've talked about hospitality industry. What other areas has he built businesses and jobs for which people
There are 13 companies to his credit. But
13
companies to his credit, but these three are the most known and talked about.
Okay.
And I'm talking about huge projects. I just mentioned to you hospitality program, not just in Ghana or West Africa, but the whole of Africa.
Well, he owns hotels in other African countries?
I'm saying that the most ambitious hospitality program is in the whole of Africa.
Okay.
Is a Ghanaian brand. That's the Rock City brand.
Okay. So these 13 companies, have you done a costing or estimation of how many people he employs?
I know that Dr. Bryan Acheampong pays between 2,000 and 3,000 people on a monthly basis.
So over 2,000 people under his employment.
Correct. In private capacity.
Okay.
And that is an inspiration to the young people, because, mind you, one of our key concerns as young people of our country is jobs. And we believe that if somebody has been able to conceive big ideas, and not just conception, but actually is able to implement through discipline, to be able to achieve tangible results, that inspires hope and assures the young people of our country that giving executive power, giving the power of the state, that could be leveraged to impact the young people of our country. But again, he has enormous record in public service. 4-term member of parliament, several ministerial portfolios has he occupied. So apart from private service, entrepreneurship, even in the public space, he is not a novice. You can discuss his output at the Agri Ministry, for instance.
We'll come to agree, but so these 13 companies, did he use the state to set them up?
No.
Because
he couldn't have.
He was accused of using state machinery to buy state-owned property.
No, but
now that I mentioned 13, people will start thinking, okay, he was in power for so many years. Doesn't mean that he used the state to benefit himself.
No. The Rock
he
City
started
brand,
this from secondary school, from university.
The Rock City brand, for instance, was started even before the NPP won power in 2016 and formed government. Somewhere in 2008 was when the Rock City brand was started.
When NPP was in government?
He was not in government at the time. And the Kufuor, he was not even in government. He was a young entrepreneur doing his business. You understand? So, I mean, even within the last 8 years, I'm not sure if Dr. Bryan Acheampong has received a contract from the government. I'm not sure.
He has not received?
Not sure. No, I'm not sure.
Because he was the one giving contracts out as a minister.
Well, but yeah, so as a minister, he was responsible for a specific sector. And so, yes, not all the contracts in the country was given by him. But I'm saying that Dr. Bryan Acheampong is a successful private entrepreneur. He started his businesses way before he got into public service.
Let's talk about his personal traits. What would endear him to Ghanaians?
The fact that he's very humble, he's focused on his goals, he's a deliverer. He conceives big ideas, and he's able to discipline himself to be able to go through the rigorous implementation process to achieve results. He's a disciplinarian. He will joke with you all right, but when targets are set, they must be met. He's a disciplinarian. If I may, he is the no-nonsense type. And so I think that anybody who's worked closely with Dr. Bryan Acheampong knows that he's a go-getter, knows that he's very consultative. He's not a dictatorial at all. Even in the campaign, as he sits at the head of the table, he is able to allow everybody, including persons like me, to make inputs, and he will take it on board if there is wisdom and sense in what you're saying. That is how he does his business. But at the end of the day, when a decision has been made, everybody around the table must commit to that decision, and that's discipline for me. You don't have to go outside the line. You cannot. As communicators and as a spokesperson, every time he has to remind me that if you stoop low, you get into the gutter because other people are doing it, other camps are doing it, throwing insults and jabs and so on. If you do that with me, never mind that I'm in the middle of a campaign, never mind that I need you, I have a vote too, never mind that I need you as a voter, I will still discipline you, even if it means that at the end of the day you will not vote for me. So these are the things.
So he will scare people?
Not scare, he will discipline people. And those are, for me, the things I like about my next president. Let
me pick one of the things you mentioned. You said he's humble.
Yes.
I mean, in Ghana, when we talk about politics and we mention humility, Atamils readily comes to mind. Is that the kind of humble Bryan Acheampong is, or which kind of humble is Bryan Acheampong?
The humble that he is that he's the type who will take advice. He would listen. He will argue his case strongly, but he will always yield to better, alternative argumentation. He will give people the benefit of the doubt. And he doesn't judge people on their looks, on their economic or social status.
Okay.
Human beings are human beings in his face. Whether you are a minister or you are an MP or you are a police station executive, is irrelevant to him. You are a human being with God-given potentials. He will engage you at your level.
Okay.
And so
this is his first time. There are others who have gone in the past. Why should he be chosen
Because he will win for us the power in 2028.
Even though there are others who have been there in the past.
Yeah, but yeah.
Who have shown good potential, taking you to
I'm not sure about good potential because we can discuss good potential, but in 2024, for instance, we had an unprecedented loss. I mean, not just the quantum of loss, but even the trend. You know that before 2024, anytime we go for elections, presidential candidates secure more votes than the cumulative of all of the parliamentary candidates. That was what happened in Kufuor's time when Kufuor stood in 96, in 2000. Kufuor had more votes than all the NPP parliamentary candidates put together. When Akufo-Addo came, Akufo-Addo had more votes than all the NPP parliamentary candidates put together. For the first time, NPP parliamentary candidates put together had more votes than the NPP presidential candidate. You take my sister, Honorable Esiama Dokwa, her constituency. She lost about 5,000. As she was mourning her loss, 5,000. We realized that the presidential candidate lost 11,000 in that same constituency. So, you see, if it was just an NPP problem, the presidential candidate would have also lost by 5,000. There were other considerations.
So the candidate was a problem for you in 2024?
Well, there were other considerations. I mean...
So if there are other considerations,
Umaru,
fix those ones and repeat the candidates.
Umaru, and I'm saying that, I'm using my words carefully, but the NPP people know, the delegates we are engaging, this is national television conversation. It's not everything that I'll say to you. But if you have a candidate, a presidential candidate score or lost by 11,000 as against his parliamentary candidate who lost by 11,000, that's not normal. That's not okay. Something has to be asked. Some questions will have to be asked.
But there are places where parliamentary candidates win, their presidential candidates lose.
Well, in our country, in our context, that's not been the trend. And I just discussed the trend with you. There were, in the 2024 elections, I've heard people from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's camp argue that we want the presidential candidate beat some parliamentary candidate, I think in about 5 or 6 constituencies. But the details they don't share with us. If you take, for instance, Asin, the honorable member in Tim Forjo's constituency.
Asin South.
Asin South. And if you take Gomwa, where the former gender minister, Cynthia Morrison, was MP, there were NPP independent candidates. Cynthia Morrison, for instance, went against Chris Atta. Chris Atta had won the NPP primaries, and Cynthia Morrison was not happy and went independent and pulled votes from Chris Atta. So that is an outlier, and that can be explained. You go to Asin, similar situation. There was an MPP person, a known MPP person, who went independent and drew some votes. So these are outliers. But in about 99% of the constituencies, parliamentary candidates outperformed the presidential candidate. So you cannot just argue that, okay, somebody has done it before, so let's take him. We are guided by the history. The history is that when candidates go, they outperform parliamentary candidates. When they go, they improve on the previous performance. Kufuor performed better than Albert Edubuahen. Kufuor performed better than himself in 2000 when he contested in his performance in 1996. He performed better than that in 2000. Okay, outperformed himself again in 2004. In 2008, Akufo-Addo outperformed Kufuor. And in 2012, Akufo-Addo outperformed himself in 2008. And so you see that there was the trend. You can see that there's an upward movement in the trend. But in 2024, His Excellency, former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, depreciated the performance, the 6.7 million votes that he inherited, plummeted to about 4-point-something million. He came down. And so we have to take all of these things into considerations and not just say that, okay.
And take into consideration other things, considering incumbency, disadvantage, considering the 8-year
now
period.
It is disadvantage, it's
yeah,
not
it depends.
advantage.
If you've been in power for 8 years, there's a disadvantage that comes with it.
I thought there was also an advantage that came with it.
Yeah, there are disadvantages as well as disadvantages. For instance, they talk about you not satisfying farmers by giving them fertilizer, which is your candidate's forte. We'll talk about that when we come back from this break.
Actually say that would be scandalous.
I'll ask you, yes, your candidate's track record at the Agri Ministry. Okay. This is face-to-face on Channel 1 TV. Please stay with us.
This November, something amazing is coming to Accra. Are you a farmer with fresh produce? Are you into fish farming, poultry or livestock? Then get ready for the November edition of the AgriFair 2025. Yes, AgriFair 2025. It's happening on Friday the 28th to Sunday the 30th of November. It's happening at the Asuogyaman Children's Park and it's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. It's the ultimate weekend marketplace. From fruits and vegetables to poultry, livestock and fish to agri-inputs and processing machinery. All at unbeatable farm gate prices. Whether you're selling or buying, this is your chance to connect, trade and grow. Enjoy the freshest farm produce, sizzling kebabs, and a vibrant marketplace atmosphere all in one space. Register now and secure your spot. Call 0558-973-973 for more information. AgriFair 2025, where culture meets innovation. AgriFair 2025 is powered by Channel 1 TV and 97.3 City FM and is proudly sponsored by Horticulture Business Platform, Development Bank Ghana, Legacy Crop Improvement Center, Gressol, and the Ghana Exim Bank.
Yeah, welcome back. This face-to-face on Channel 1 TV. My guest is not Bryan Acheampong. My guest, Pius Hadzide, he speaks for Bryan Acheampong on this MPP internal race. Your candidate was Minister for Agri. They say that fertilizer didn't get to farmers in the north. And fertilizer is a very key campaign issue. And that is why your party lost. So it is not everything you have been saying to me.
I'm scandalized by any such suggestion. This is not the first time we had won elections. We are hoping to win in 2028 as well. I'm sure that by 2028 we'll be able to share fertilizers to be able to win. I think that that's a very defeatist comment.
You'll be able to win in 2028 if this government doesn't share fertilizer.
Oh, so the basis upon which parties win or lose is sharing fertilizer.
They say it's a very key thing.
Please, Umaru, let's credit the people of Ghana with some intelligence, and I will get into that. Your candidate didn't sit on fertilizer in Accra. How can that be? This is somebody who is self-made, and what is Bryan Acheampong going to do with fertilizer? But let me deal with two issues that you raised. One is that break the 8, and that those are some considerations we should have made. Incumbency disadvantage, you call it. But let me place on record that this is not the first time the so-called break the 8 was attempted. In 2008, the NPP attempted to break the 8. When Akufo-Addo came, we saw the performance. The challenges of any government were also present during the tenure of Kufuor.
Maybe Kufuor did better than Akufo-Addo did. So blame Akufo-Addo now and not Kufuor.
Don't do the maybe. I know the facts.
Okay.
And I'm saying to you without equivocation that our government did so well.
This past government?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Who did free SHS? Who has started the construction of 111 hospitals?
Who did haircuts?
Exactly. So that's one thing that you have mentioned. That's one thing.
I was
going to mention to you a litany of the things that the NPP government did really and truly unprecedented investments in infrastructure. I would take the sports infrastructure for instance.
So you don't buy the argument that was Akufo-Addo who lost the election for you?
That's a non-starter. We should not get there at all. Look, by the time that the Akufo-Addo administration came, if we wanted to even just discuss astroturfs, sporting facilities, astroturfs, on this my 5 fingers, you will not be able to exhaust these fingers. By the time Akufo-Addo left, and the NDC had 8 years, the same 8 years that Akufo-Addo had. By the time Akufo-Addo left, you know the investments in sports infrastructure, for instance. Look what the government has done with education, STEM, the STEM facilities that have been brought. The health insurance, by the time we came, you go to an hospital, there will be 2 queues. People who are prepared to pay and the health insurance card holders. You know this. You have been reporting this consistently.
Let me bring you back. And so, I want to talk about your candidate's track record at the Agri-Ministry.
I'll come to that. The point I'm making first is that when we tried to break the 8 the first time in 2008,
and you nearly
the NDC did not embarrass us this way. Even though we lost the elections, it was after 3 trials.
50,000 votes.
Yes.
This
so that argument, millions. You see,
and I'm saying that it means that Kufuor did better, Akufo-Addo didn't do well. So it was the track record of Kufuor that nearly made you break the 8.
If you do that, you are going to even further indict the number 2 man who was sitting right by the side of Akufo-Addo within the 8 years.
Didn't have power. It was just ceremonial.
I mean, please don't let's go there. Let's go there. How do you say that? How do you say that? That's the head of the economic management team, for instance.
We've heard that he goes to.
Please, so I'm saying that
was doing things that.
I mean, I'm not going to get into excuses. I'm saying that the NPP government, our record is clear. We are human beings. There were 1 or 2 mistakes and failures here and there, but on the whole, nobody can argue that the NPP government was a failure, particularly and especially compared with the track record of the NDC. That argument cannot be made.
Okay, we need to go. So let's talk about candidates in Agric.
So that's number 1. The number 2, as far as I know, the minister responsible for agriculture has an intervention to mitigate the impacts of the dry spell, thought about the Ghanaian farmers, imported fertilizers into the country, and distributed those fertilizers to each and every single region across this country. The minister's job is not to go and carry fertilizers and be distributing it to farmers. That's a job for the local decentralized structures of our governance system, assemblies and so on. So if for one reason a district did not distribute the fertilizers or distributed them late, it is only in desperation of the highest order that will make somebody put the blame on the sector minister. Sanda, is it your understanding that it is the minister who should come and distribute fertilizer in Asuogyaman? When the fertilizers go to Asuogyaman, my district chief executive led the distribution. I was there, I saw.
Okay.
So I don't know what people are talking about.
I have one question for you, and I'm not going to answer the question you asked me, but rather I'm going to ask you a question. Talking about indictment.
But what question did I ask you?
No, you are asking me about the fertilizer thing, which I can't answer. But I'm saying that on indictments that you've talked about, your candidate is a sitting member of parliament.
Correct.
When we saw MPs endorsing a candidate, we didn't see a huge number of MPs endorsing him. If his own peers don't trust him, why should MPP delegates trust him, and by extension Ghanaians?
His peers are the MPP members and the delegates.
The MPs are his peers.
No, I'm telling you.
If you say,
is he not an MPP person?
Yeah, but if they say that to be judged by your own peers,
yes,
my peers would be journalists. Bryan Acheampong's peers would be his MP colleagues.
Well, I'm saying that I see myself as a peer of his.
Okay.
I'm not an MP.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if MPs don't choose him,
I'll come to that. But I'm
no?
saying that Dr. Bryan Acheampong is really interested in the endorsement of the grassroots of our party.
Because he's not getting...
This them versus us concept, where a few people sit in Accra and see themselves as kingmakers is also a part of the problem, because then they just want to be the beneficiaries after the battle is won.
MPs wield a lot of influence.
Well,
they were elected by these executives who you call grassroots. So why do you think
I think
that
the delegates wield a lot of influence. You said that the delegates, the grassroots, the police station executives, they elected the MPs. It's not the other way around.
So they possibly advise the MP that when you go, you choose Baumia against...
But that's exactly the point I'm saying to you. We hear the delegates, the people with the real power, tell us that this is not our advice. Our advice is what we are manifesting, what we are saying. We want you. Let our MPs stay in Accra, tickle themselves and laugh. Let them probably go and what should I say? Negotiate a certain benefit paggage.
Is that what happened?
But I'm not. This is what the delegates tell us. They tell me.
So
I'm not worried at all. There are over 220,000 individuals who are going to vote, including me. Each one of us has one vote. Even if all the 87 MPs decide that they are going to vote for one candidate, and over 200,000 delegates, police station, electoral area coordinators, constituency executives decide they are going to vote for the other, who will win? So I'm not worried at all about this.
We need to go, but January 31st, 2026, you are sure you're going to win, or you're just testing the waters?
We are winning. There's no question about testing the waters. We are doing this for party and for
when
country.
You wake up in the morning, look yourself in the mirror, you believe that your candidate will win.
Everybody who has engaged with our candidate knows that he is the candidate to beat the NDC in 2028. And they tell us, we have been around, we've been to Greater Accra, we've been to Ashanti, we've been to Eastern.
The polls don't show that you are doing any well. You're always
no, the polls show that. No, the polls didn't, the polls didn't show this until Dr. Bryan Acheampong stepped out. Today, you speak to the pollsters. The last time I saw polls from Mr. Musa Dankwa, for instance,
I've seen his polls.
No. I'm saying the last time I saw in Greater Accra, he was neck to neck with two other persons. Okay, in Ashanti region, he was in the lead.
Are you sure?
In Eastern region, he was in the lead.
Maybe you're looking at different Musa Dankwa. Maybe if there's a fake account called Musa Dankwa.
No. I follow these things too keenly. But I'm saying that polls are just feedback for us. We are also conducting our own polls. But the mother of all polls will be conducted on the 31st of January. But take it from me, Sanda, that the party people are really and truly hungry for power. And they know that the person who has the time, the energy, and the resourcefulness to execute a rigorous campaign capable of unseating the NDC is Dr. Bryan Acheampong.
Thank you so much for joining us, and wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me.
That's Pius Hadzide. He is a spokesperson of the Dr. Bryan Acheampong campaign. This has been Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. I'm Umaru Sanda. We will return next week with more. Please stay with Channel 1 TV.